Expansion Network, as you know, accelerating the consciousness of humanity every single day. And we are here so blessed today here at the actually the Waters Creek Convention Center in Allen, Texas. And we are right now in the middle of the conference. It's called the Wise Traditions Conference, organized by the Weston A. Price Foundation. And we are really blessed to have Sally with us. Hi, Sally, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And it was really coincidental that I got to know that this was happening literally in my backyard a few days ago. And the first person I actually ran up to was Sally when I came on Friday. So, and thank you very much. First of all, because you welcome, Expansion Networks team and myself so wholeheartedly. And second, because you have been able to really bring extraordinary people to this conference, right?
It's been a great conference, and we do have some marvelous speakers this year. I think you've just been listening to Andy Kaufman,
Exactly.
who is just amazing. We had Robert F. Kennedy Jr. last night. David Martin was a wonderful speaker. And we have speakers for beginners as well, presentations on cooking and just general nutrition.
Exactly. There's a wealth of knowledge and I would say of wisdom because a lot of many different things and conferences and that I have been listening to throughout my life. I have to say that in here you have been able to gather really a very well balanced sort of content. And everybody here, when I was listening to many food related speeches, I was really or presentations, they would remind me of my grandma and my grandpa back in Spain, right? I was born in Spain, as you all know, and really, it's like the world kind of forgot this ancient wisdom that our ancestors had, and right now there's so many people that have been able not only to keep them alive, but also do research, right?
Yes.
Because it's very important, and I have to say, I attended one of Sally's presentation in this event, and obviously she has received a lot of questions, and there was a question from a particular member in the audience, and she said we will have to do some research on that. Mm-hmm. So she was really bland honest. I cannot answer this question, and she was
a lot of questions I can't answer.
Exactly. Yeah. So she was humble enough and wise enough to say, we should probably do some research on that. So how do you think? I mean, when did this event start, the Wise Traditions event?
So our first conference was in the year 2000. We had 75 people. We had it in a church basement, and all of the speakers canceled on me at the last minute. So I had to give all the talks myself. But it was successful. We had lunch, and it was a very nice one-day conference. So over the years, we've gradually expanded. Now we're at 3 days plus a farm tour on Monday, and we always have 35 to 40 speakers.
And why would you say that you were able to attract? You mentioned 3 or 4 speakers which are very well known, right? Not only in this country but around the world. Yes. Why would you say you were able to attract these amazing presenters?
Well, I think this event has grown in popularity and people know about it. I think they respect the Weston A. Price Foundation because we are science-based. We look for the scientific validation of traditional wisdom. And we have a very popular journal that presents a lot of these new ideas. Mm-hmm. So
let me tell you that they have a membership. I mean, I didn't want to talk about this, but they have an incredible membership with lots of benefits and extremely affordable, like super affordable for the kind of knowledge and wisdom that you're actually getting from that. Who was Weston A. Price for the people that don't know?
Okay, so Weston Price was a dentist. He practiced in the 1930s, 1940s, and he did these travels in the summer where he went to visit isolated population groups to study their teeth. And he found 14 groups who had perfect teeth. Everyone did, no cavities, and broad facial structures so that the teeth were always straight. Nobody in these cultures needed braces. And so he wrote about this, he counted cavities, he left a record in the scientific literature, but he also looked at what they ate. He wanted to answer the question of what kind of diet supports this excellent health and excellent bone structure. So the diets were all different. I mean, the Eskimo diet was different from the South Seas diet, but there were some common features to all the diets. And the main one was that the diets were nutrient dense. They were very high in minerals, very high in vitamins, especially the vitamins that we get from organ meats and animal fats.
And you were the foundress of the foundation?
One of them, yes.
One of them.
Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
okay. So basically, you saw the need to
Yes.
spread this knowledge, this wisdom.
Yes, we saw the need to have an ongoing publication that looks into what's going on in the science of the day.
Excellent. Well, besides obviously your very strong ties with the foundation, you yourself have your own, you have your own business. You're an
Yes.
entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
So what's the name of your business and what do you do?
Well, it's New Trends Publishing, and it publishes my books on nutrition and health.
Excellent.
Just it's a tiny company. It's
Okay.
not very big. Yeah.
Very good. And actually, I asked her to bring one of her books here, and this is actually, is that the latest book?
This is the latest book. I wrote it with Dr. Tom Cowan. It's called The Contagion Myth, and we explore the question of what causes disease. And the title gives you the bottom line there. Disease is not caused by passing bacteria or viruses from one person to another. That's not how disease happens.
I would like to take this conversation to the 19th century, if I may. There were a couple of gentlemen in France that were rivals.
Yes.
One was called Louis Pasteur, very famous.
Yes.
Right, so famous that he attracted the attention of many, I would say, medical doctors and also pharmaceutical companies at that time. And he was probably one of the main people supporting the germ theory.
Yes, he promoted the germ theory.
Exactly. And at the same time, there was another gentleman that almost nobody knows. His name is Antoine Béchamp, another French, that he was very, very politically active, very well known in the community. He lived in several areas in the east of France. And he had a completely different theory,
Yes.
which was the terrain theory, right?
Right.
So I guess Contagion and the Contagion myth has maybe something close to that area, right?
Yes. Well, we're looking at the terrain,
Mm-hmm.
and we're basically saying that there are three causes of disease. Only three. One is poor nutrition, one is toxins, and one is injury. So this is what causes us to be sick and to suffer. And the bacteria show up whenever there is disease and dying tissue. That's the job of bacteria, the cleanup crew.
Right. And what's the role of the viruses?
Well, COVID, of course, is being blamed on a virus, a coronavirus, and we basically demonstrate in the book that that's just kind of made up. They never have isolated this virus. There's nothing specific to this illness that we're calling COVID that involves a virus. They haven't found this virus. They've never found this virus in the fluids of afflicted people.
Right. So with this book, why did you decide to publish this book in this moment in time?
Yeah, it was definitely a hasty decision.
Okay.
I had written a blog called "Is Coronavirus Contagious?" And I pointed out that the Spanish flu, they never could prove it was contagious. They really tried. They put fluids from sick people into the well people. They spit on the well people. They breathed on the well people, but they could never make them sick. And the likely cause of the Spanish flu was the rollout of radio towers all over the world because people were reacting to this new electromagnetic frequency. Tom, in the meantime, had given a 10-minute talk that went viral on the internet in which he was saying he thought that the new illness was caused by the deployment of 5G all over the world, this new microwave technology. So since there was so much interest in what they were saying, Tom said, well, I think we need to write a book. We wrote it in 2 months very quickly because it was so timely. And,
exactly.
And it would be a little bit thicker if we wrote it today.
No, yeah, it's actually it's a very easy read, I would say, because there's pictures, there's graphs. I mean, I love when I see charts on a book
Yes.
because that makes everything much more understandable.
Yes. Yes.
So it's definitely a book that everybody can understand.
I would say so. It's a readable book, but we also really do look at the science. And the main chapter that I wrote was on the various diseases that are considered contagious, and pretty much show that that's a myth. The various diseases that most of which are no longer with us, like typhoid and smallpox and so forth, are they're caused by other things. One of the main things that causes disease is insect bites, and insects can have very powerful toxins in their saliva. And this is not a very glamorous field of research to be in,
Right.
but I think we need to look at this more.
So, for instance, diseases like malaria or people that that they are so spread over, let's say, underdeveloped countries, that very often they're supposed to be contagious, right?
Right, right.
So
And a lot of people get it at the same time in the same place,
exactly.
but they're also exposed to the same toxins.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Good. Fantastic. So, if people would like to buy this book, where should they go?
Okay. Well, Contagion Myth was banned on Amazon.
Okay.
So Barnes and Noble took the book, and it's been very good. I think we're the #1 hardback overseas right
Wow.
now. Then they issued it with a new title. I think they called it "The Truth About Contagion."
Okay.
And Amazon, that passed the censors at Amazon, so
Okay.
you can get that version on Amazon. It's the same book, just a different title.
It passed the censors. That's a nice way to put it. So obviously, we were talking about this interview, and you are well known as the nourishing traditions,
Yes,
right? The
yes.
nourishing traditions. And as I was saying before, when you come here, there's over 60 exhibitors here at this conference, and a lot of them are talking about traditions
Yes.
that we probably forgot about them. So is nourishing traditions also? It says here it's a masterpiece.
Oh,
Right.
I don't know if it's a masterpiece, but it was my first book,
Okay.
Nourishing Traditions,
Right.
and it's been what they call a perennial in the publishing industry. It sells just steadily all the time.
Mhm.
So then I've come out with other books in the series, a book on
Right.
baby and child care, children's cookbook.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the main goal, would you say, of the Weston A. Price Foundation?
Well, that's a good question. Is to educate humanity
Okay.
on basically how to have healthy babies and how to be healthy for life.
Okay.
And we also put a great emphasis on finding the kind of foods we need to be healthy, pasture-based animal foods, eggs, raw milk, dairy products. And so we have a system of local chapters all over the world who keep a food resource list for their area. So if you are listening to me and suddenly decide you want to have raw milk, you can call your local chapter and they will tell you how to get raw milk.
I have to confess that I did that already.
Good.
I didn't know about the foundation until 3 days ago, and I immediately contacted Amy de Vernon.
Yes.
I haven't been able to talk to Christine yet,
Yeah.
which is the other kind of leader of the local chapter, right? And exactly what you just said. I asked her, where can I buy these natural products that they have been vetted, let's say, by experts. And she already told me a couple of places I could go and buy raw milk. I can't wait to buy raw milk.
Oh, good.
And I was able to interview Amy as well.
Wonderful.
So and we are right now in Allen, which is north of Dallas. But as she said, it's very easy to go to the Weston A. Price Foundation. You will find the information about all the different chapters and who are leading the chapters in the different places
Yes.
in the world.
Yes.
I really encourage you to go to the website and thoroughly think about becoming a member, because the wealth of wisdom you get from the foundation, from everybody involved.
Yes,
Is-
the members receive 4 magazines every year, and they're action-packed. They're full of information.
Exactly. Well, anything else you would like to add for our audience, Sally? It's been a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you for having me. The website is huge. It's packed with information. Use our search capability to answer your own questions. There's also a beginner's tour for the website,
Okay.
so I think you'll enjoy going there.
Okay. So the website, is it westonaprice.org?
It's westonaprice.org. It's WESTONAPRICE.org.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for being in Expansion Network today, Sally.
for having me.
It's been a pleasure. And for everybody watching us today, thank you very much for joining us as well. I'm sure that you have enjoyed the conversation with Sally as much as we have. I think that we have opened a big door
Yes.
for a lot of people to get to know more. And I think it's from a historical perspective, I think it's never been more necessary and interesting to get to know more things,
Yeah.
right? That probably we have forgotten, and going back to those nourishing traditions.
Yes.
Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
And everyone watching us, be ready for our next interview in a few more minutes. And thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye bye.